Oh, welcome everybody to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Hey, thank you so much, Renegade Seed. I ran into you twice today. We heard about this at the same time. I was watching a video of JT loves JC. Renegade Seed was there, and we heard the picture, or we heard the story. Trump was shot. People checked it out, and you know, do they have to rub what Of course, I think I don't know what isn't a false flag. Going back to remember the Maine and everything else. So, you know how I do. I like to be the first one that said, hey, what about this possibility? And when it comes to conspiracy, man, it's a big deal to me, man. So I'm going to show you. So once again, was watching this video with Renegade Seed and some others, and we heard that the president was shot. I thought false flag right off the bat because this has been predicted for some time. I wonder what this stick is he's holding here. Is that I don't know. But let's get a look at the guy from the thumbnail.
Butler County District Attorney telling KDKA political reporter John Delano two people who were at this rally are dead. That includes the shooter, according to the Butler County DA, and an audience member.
I'm going to do this thing because I'm going to be looking at some other videos, in a day of a turning point in history, but I still need to do that. So we haven't got to look at the guy that was accused of being John F. Kennedy Jr. In the Q-Anon. And remember all of that nonsense when President Trump was running and getting the warp speed going for...
President Trump appears to have been grazed in some way by a firearm discharge.
And we don't know how many other injuries there may be.
No, but our reporters, Jake Rosen and Olivia Rinaldi, Jake Rosen...
What? They had already opened it, didn't they? What in tarnation? Did you see me get shut down there? Just hold on, we're going to get it. So, couldn't open it. We were watching it. All right, so we're back.
Talking about the political violence her family had experienced and condemning it in this context and saying how glad she was that former President Trump is safe. You have the expectation that the White House will soon issue some kind of statement. We know that both the vice president and the president have been briefed on what's been going on. They themselves, of course, have Secret Service detail, and you have to imagine that there's an alert level across the board right now. But one of the things that we do need to pull back, that is just...
Yeah, pull back the politics. Okay, that's what you're going to say. I want to get to the...
is red. But like you said, Margaret, now is a time to bring down the temperature and assess what happened, ensure that everyone is safe. Already, one person who went to this rally...
No, there's people dead. They thought they heard firecrackers.
Second, because we are getting word that President Biden...
Training center in Beltsville, Maryland.
A written statement saying I have been briefed.
Something's labeled officially as a sniper incident. What does that mean to you, and especially for agents working this on the ground?
Well, if that does turn out to be the case, then obviously
there's the guy I want you to focus
someone with a very long-range rifle, similar to
right here. Now there's a clip. That's the guy. I remember the QAnon like it was yesterday.
A deer rifle or something like that.
And there's video on here where he doesn't flinch.
So if, in fact, someone was in a place outside of that perimeter and were able to do that,
it would have had to be quite a distance. The whole thing.
What I said a moment ago, the normal security plan is going to involve 3 concentric rings of security, an outer, a middle, and an inner perimeter.
Right, so we know they're going to be talking about this a long time. How did the former president, security break down so much that they allowed this to happen? This really happened. Now, they show this a couple of times, and so here he is. Now, okay. Now, this is the part here. I'm going to let this roll. When it gets to the crowd, I know where the pause button is. On the other QuickTime, it was in the middle. So there's the pro wrestler. I did it. This could be the one that the left is going to say, look, this looks ridiculous. I have Dabu 007 pulled up. I saw that girl put her sunglasses on. Okay, so here he's starting to talk. In another clip, this one they didn't show, he's looking down, and then he looks up right after he touches his ear. This girl sees something where my mouse is. Watch how everybody reacts in some way except this guy, the QAnon JFK Jr. No reaction. See, he's looking down, timed it, no reaction. Didn't even flinch. Everybody else is like, what's going on? And he is as cool as a cucumber. No looking around. No wondering what's going on. So that took me a little bit longer to queue up, but I wanted to be the first to show and add in the conspiracy world. And so this is where allegedly the sniper just crawled right out on this roof, according to the Dabu. Dabu, I don't know.
Yeah, again, so some of these shots, little graphics, I'm not showing them. I'm going to get over here and I'm going to check the chat here for a second.
No. Tell us what this is about.
Reporting that the shooter was in the crowd and taken out. And, a lot of people pointing at this witness dude and what they saw, him and his companions, about seeing the shooter and, pointing him out. And, I find it kind of crazy that all these people see the shooter up there on the roof taking position and no one engaging him. I mean, again, this roof, the whole roof thing right here, and looking at this, it screams.
All right, that's pretty good, right? I mean, okay, I want to be the first one to say JFK Jr., QAnon guys was in the audience, but then I switch over to Dabu and he's got this whole thing laid out like a picture of the guy. I mean, isn't it supposed to be harder to get a gun close to the president? Much less if this turns out to be an AR-15. Where they're already banning those, right? I mean, speaking as a pacifist, relatively new. I've been a pacifist for 9.5 years now. This is not right. This is all wrong. It just smells to high heaven.
it just screams at me, okay, in what I do, that just something's not right. And I think anyone that wants to go looking for the truth here in the matter, you come across this, the investigator in you is going to say, the best place in the whole area to set a shooter is where the shooter got into position. How is that possible? How?
Let's go live.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over.
Building around. How come they weren't watching that building? The one building you could have got a clean shot off. How's it even possible? Who dropped the ball there?
Now, there's the kind of question that's going to get you in trouble, man. You're just asking for trouble. What you need in a conspiracy theory is a clown dressed like this guy that doesn't flinch. Then they can think I'm crazy. Don't give them something out of a movie script, man. You got to go with this guy and that he doesn't flinch and make a big deal out of that. Anyway, this is the news from CBS. I'm doing it with fair use with commentary because we're watching that guy act like when he was looking down, did he send a message? I mean, let's go crazy. In a book, I would say, I looked down and typed into my activated phone, do it now. I looked up, remaining calm, maybe too calm in hindsight.
Of fireworks. That same tone, that same volume, that same
sounded like
a series of
pyrotechnic show of fireworks.
Him, there's security and Secret Service.
The only problem is there's a man dead. An Hispanic man got his head blown off, and a couple of other people were shot. So we're going to have to see how this plays out in real life. But we got this joke. I want people to tell me what kind of shirt this dude is wearing. Where's his hot fake wife that used to be in these pictures in the 2019 when the Trumpster was trying to run for the presidency again and all that weirdness was going on? Plenty of weird.
Jump in hardly a second after this happened. I mean, they just appeared out of nowhere. Scott McFarland was there and saw all of this unfold. Scott, we're going to bring you in. Bring us back to that moment when you heard that noise, what you thought, and what happened in this scene.
It was uniquely jarring. Again, it had that same sound of fireworks, that same tone, that same volume, that same rapidity, a series of about 8 to 10 of those. It took just a few moments, though, for us to realize it was something much more sinister than that. There would be no place for fireworks at an event like this. I was up on a press rafter facing the former president from above, and those of us on the rafters jumped below to get beneath them, all kinds of equipment and tables falling on top of us to shield ourselves. And we can look out and see other members of the crowd, of which there were thousands here today, doing the same, face planting into the ground.
Adjust your glasses.
Up against the bike rack barriers. That
somebody hit her glasses. Doggone it. Was it the president?
You could see after the former president was moved off the stage, some group of
there's he stood up
in paramilitary gear.
He raised his fist.
Unit.
I am
the president's right side of the stage. From our view, the left side of the stage. About 90 seconds after. Soon after that, we saw 2 helicopter landings. Helicopters.
It reminds me when he wrestled Vince McMahon.
Are cars that are in line to leave that haven't moved over the last hour. It may not move. It seems that they have stopped the departures from the scene. This is an active investigation. No doubt an active criminal investigation, and the crowd that didn't get out immediately is here now for quite a while. They're in their cars.
So that guy's got an AR-15.
Closed off or slowed
down. So does this guy.
This fairgrounds kind of in the middle of nowhere in Butler County,
They
Pennsylvania.
got cameras on their head. I wonder if that Dabu 7 was right. It took the people in the crowd to say, there's the guy on the gun on the roof. Look, gun. I thought in the TV shows
people were trying to administer first aid, and there was blood everywhere.
So there he is, right
and,
there.
Eventually, within a few minutes, the police came and carried that person out, presumably to get the kind of emergency care they needed. But it was obviously a very frightening moment. It was clear that the president was under attack, and it was clear that people were being hurt, and it wasn't clear whether there was one shooter or two shooters or whether they were done. And so you can imagine it was a crowd of 15,000 people. It seemed about 15,000 is what the law enforcement people had told us. And so you can imagine what kind of panic there was with this kind of.
So I think they want us to believe he got shot right through the ear, or maybe ricochet, because now they're going to be explaining, 8 to 10 rapid succession shots. Go, hit play.
What did you see, and who did you treat? What were the extent of the injuries?
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me on. I was in the stands about 30 feet away from an individual that received a head wound, a headshot. He was on the right. He was on the lower portion of the same stands. I was looking at the graph when I heard what sounded like firecrackers going off. I saw the Secret Service then swarm over Donald Trump, and somebody near the location of this individual cried out, he's down, he's hurt, he's been shot. And so, being an emergency department physician, I just went into muscle memory and went down there to assist him.
And how did you assist him, doctor? And what did he look like? What were the extent of his wounds? It sounds like this was a male. What can you describe for us?
It's a male. He appeared to be mid-30s. I believe he was Hispanic. He was wearing a Trump rally shirt. He was shot in the head. His body was twisted around and wedged between two benches.
That's him up on the top row there.
He was not breathing. He did not have a pulse or at all. He appeared fairly gravely ill. With the help of 3 other people, I was able to get him back up on a bench, and I administered CPR. I breathed for him, standard CPR, and also did chest compressions. There was a lot of blood that was spilt on the stands where he lay, as well as brain matter.
Doctor, did he appear to have any family with him, or did he seem like he was alone?
He seemed like there was 2 family members. I continued to try to resuscitate him. 2 Pennsylvania State police officers approached.
Now, before I want to look for some fresh news. I'm not going to keep this too long. I wanted to let you look at President Biden.
It was quite tight. I mean,
toward the end, I think
it's supposed to continue into the overnight hours. We'll see.
Trump, and now currently the chairman of the Republican National Convention here in Milwaukee. He said 3 things. 1, he's been on the phone with those close to former President Trump. The former President Trump is well, does not expect to change anything about the program here in Milwaukee. Will come in here, if anything, more energized, more raring to go. That is a word from Reince Priebus about everything that is planned for the 4 days to commence tomorrow here in Milwaukee. I asked Reince Priebus, do you expect the security situation here in Milwaukee to change as a result of the events in Butler, Pennsylvania? He said, not yet. He said, but I will probably get a briefing in the not too distant future. There are a lot of other priorities ahead of that right now, but he's expecting that something might change. I can tell you this, having just gotten here to downtown Milwaukee already, the standard lengthy multi-block security perimeter is being erected as I speak. Blocks are being blocked off all around. That standard protocol for Republican or Democratic national conventions has been for many, many years. What we don't know is, starting tomorrow, will the plans that they had going into this event in any way be tightened as a result of the violence in Butler, Pennsylvania, and the very near miss on former President Trump? Reince Priebus did not have any insights into that. But what he does know and what he was able to convey to me is former president is well, expects to be here all 4 days in Milwaukee, and wants the program to go as planned. That's what I know.
So they have the, this happens the day before the Republican convention. Now Trump is attempted assassinated. He's going to be up and feistier than ever. But I'll bet you he's not going to be as pro-gun maybe as he should be. Something's going to happen. Something's up. This is not nearly over. And the reason I wanted to show you President Biden was because, you know, they're trying to say he called him Donald. I tried to call Donald, not President Trump or anything, but to humanize him, not politicize him. And now Biden has announced that, you know, he's not going to let any fundraisers go on. Here he is.
With the victim that you saw, where did it appear that this person had been hit, and how severe were those injuries?
You know, it was really hard to tell. It was a lot of blood, so it wasn't clear where the bullet had struck him and how, you know, how severe the wound was. You know, he looked to be unconscious.
You're getting the raw footage
that'll
probably be cleaned up and scrubbed by tomorrow.
A lot of blood, so I'm assuming he was pretty severely wounded, and you know, I'm hoping and praying he's okay.
David, stand by. Thank you so much for that account. You were there. You were in the front row. I'm here with Bob Costa, who's been, as we're sitting here reporting to you, Bob is next to me on the phone, making phone calls quietly to all of his sources to find out what happened. Is the former president okay? We're being told President Biden is going to be addressing the nation in minutes. We're standing by for that. You see the shot that we have up, waiting for his arrival. Bob, what's the latest that you've been hearing?
He looks good
The latest
today.
remains the suspect has been killed, one dead in the shooting at Trump's rally. We're still trying to learn more from those witnesses who were there about what exactly happened on stage in terms of a firearm being discharged. Did it hit something and then ricochet onto Trump? And then you see there's confusion about exactly what happened in terms of the injury for former President Trump. This is a major moment for President Biden. Not only the president of the United States, it comes just days before the Republican National Convention. And as President Biden is facing consternation in his party over his recent debate performance in Atlanta, the president is someone who has had his differences, to say the least, with former President Trump over the course of this campaign. But we are in a fragile national moment when there's this kind of violence at a political event for your opponent. This will be a presidential moment, if there ever was one, in the 2024 presidential campaign. We are soon to hear from the president of the United States, who is at his weekend residence, a place he loves returning to for peace and quiet, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Here's the president.
I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And so I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have engaged.
You know, it's too early for the president to start saying the Secret Service really dropped the ball. They let a sniper call on a shed less than 500 yards away. That seems crazy.
Making sure that the people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of.
We got to knock it off.
Everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. So far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, and I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give them an updated briefing. If anything happened, they learned more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do, okay?
Well, maybe we'll get that speech too. Who's coughing in the background?
I don't know.
Somebody want to knock that off?
I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts.
That's
so
for
I
sure.
want to make sure we have all the facts before I make some comment anymore.
Oh, that's me. That
was President Biden addressing the nation after former President Trump was presumptively shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. Shots rang out at this rally. We are told the potential shooter is dead. Someone in the crowd is also dead. But what really stood out to me from this address was the president called former President Trump Donald. I'm trying to get a hold of Donald. I hope he's okay. All of the kind of political vernacular.
We'll look at JFK Jr. one more
outside
time.
the perimeter. How does the Secret Service account for that?
He just climbed out on
Well, and that's what the investigation probably will end
Here's
up
Joe,
showing us,
John Jr. looking down, got it timed, doesn't flinch,
what sort of access
shooting, who
have.
cares? Whatever, firecrackers going off, I don't hear them.
These kinds of events, whether they're indoors or outdoors, are really, if you think
All
of it,
right.
they're three concentric circles.
So is that something that should have been noticed this early? Or is that a desperate attempt to say, oh, I want to talk about something on YouTube tonight? I think not. I think it's weird. Let's go live, see who's going live with Donald Trump. Not much going on. Live now from Fox, ABC, CBS. Where's Flat Earth Nation? We're live. I'm going to tune in on this one because I got that whole free use thing going.
High-powered rifle that was utilized in this clearly an assassination attempt. I don't care what Biden said. When someone shoots at a presidential candidate, hits him in the ear. That's an assassination attempt. The fact that at least one person has lost their life, I think that lends to the gravity of this situation. Thank God for the Secret Service. The fact that they were able to take out the shooter within a very, very short.
See, we have a different opinion. I mean, wasn't it kind of their fault? I mean, shouldn't they have been able to take him out with a stern warning, climbing up the ladder with his gun? I've seen the TV. I know what those guys claim they're capable of doing. Who's quite frankly...
From right here, we see him. He's crawling, and next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this, and next thing you know, 5 shots rang out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%.
Wow, that was, thank you, Lord.
100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely, at least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service.
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Not everybody was panicky. There's one person that didn't flinch.
Be careful, because we don't.
How come nobody's noticed that yet?
They shot the guy.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. Yep. You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead. And that was-
You know how close we were? I mean, the fact that there are two dead, forget about the animal. But the people, I mean, that is horrible. That's horrible. Being in the stands there.
Yeah.
Having a good time, and all of a sudden the lights are out. Or being the person next to the person whose lights just went out, and suddenly you're carrying them out. I mean, this is horrible. And then on top of it, to know that we were so close. This was going to be broadcast live.
Yeah, Trump got shot right through his ear. This is another person's show. Assassination attempt special report by this guy.
At that point, a state police and a SWAT team, started evacuating the bleachers, and then I helped carry the man out of the bleachers to a tent that was behind the bleachers.
You helped carry the man yourself. What was his condition when you were carrying him?
He's deceased. He died.
How close were you to him?
A couple yards. I mean, what?
There's pictures of the shooter up dead, up into his dead face.
Ugh.
I don't know who released that. I don't know how the hell even got it out there.
It wasn't me.
That's an official picture being really. I mean, it just.
That's what you saw. So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farm and Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees out there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there.
Now, if this is a JFK type conspiracy, this ginger's a dead man walking, right? I mean, he doesn't have a chance. He's right there, 50, he's 50 feet away calling for the police, and they're playing dumb. And they've got to answer why aren't they watching this building that's, what did they say it was 500 yards? I mean, that's nothing for those type of snipers. It's just crazy. This is insanity.
Like this, and next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, This is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You
blew
saw
his
that
head
happen?
off,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead. Now,
You know how close we were
to annihilation. And I know this is going to stir up the right wing. Never before has there been so much motivation for the left, and I'll call them left, and I'm not left or right, but the left is going to want to say, no, this is, how could they be this bad? This is like a bad Gene Hackman movie.
Career, I was on a losing team, not because we had bad players or coaches. We had bad ownership. Our government, they did everything they could to stymie us politically. And then here comes Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said, I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to secure the border. I'm going to do it. I got your back. And we actually.
Wow. You see, if this isn't going to be the most politically active situation, distraction to get them into the whatever's next, because this is not right. But anyway, I'm a little stiff. So we're going to keep it short and sweet. There it is. Was that the John Jr. QAnon guy? Ask RJ. He'll know in a heartbeat. And I'm sure you do too. Like, the mud flood was Armageddon. The golden ages passed. And me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else. Why would we when we're supposed to have your best interest at heart, man? Amen. Aloha. Adios. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakame. I'm stiff. Oh, somehow you still have to hit that button to end the show.